Okay, well, hey everyone, welcome back to Summer School E-commerce Ops Edition. I'm excited today to have John May here and the Webgility team. John, thanks for joining us.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Really appreciate you guys doing this. I think it's really cool, and excited to dig in.
Awesome. Well, cool. So for everyone that's been listening along, you know that this series is meant to tackle different areas of your e-commerce operations. We want them to be very practical and tactical. So we're looking for the experts to run their series, which is why I have John here today. So without further ado, John, I'm going to hand over the mic to you, let you get into it, and then I will chime back in at the end and we'll go from there.
Awesome. I appreciate it, and I will get started. So my name's John May. I am the engagement manager for Webgility. I've been with Webgility for about 4 years now. Webgility is an e-commerce connector app for your accounting software and your sales channels. So I'll contextualize that a little bit going forward, but today I wanted to talk specifically about multi-channel and what that means to an e-commerce business and sort of the pitfalls and scenarios that you might run into as an e-commerce business owner. And then how you can sort of get around those pitfalls and what you can do to streamline your data and your business within e-commerce. I think the most important thing to talk about when it comes to multi-channel is the fact that previously and in the past, multi-channel was certainly a concept, right? Like people have always had access to multiple sales channels or multiple stores. But I think it's becoming more and more important for businesses to diversify their portfolio. And with that diversification, like I said, comes a lot of challenges or things that you might need to manage as a business owner. So what I want to accomplish on this session today is just giving you, one, the insight to what to look forward to or what to look out for when it comes to diversifying your portfolio, and some of the ways that you can, again, get around those challenges. All right, so I know I mentioned in the past, people have always had multiple sales channels. I mean, it's not unheard of to have seen somebody, have an eBay store and, sell on Amazon as well. I think, again, that's getting more prevalent as time goes on. It's not necessarily the rule, right? You can certainly be successful if you have an Amazon store and you put a lot of time and effort into it, or you found your niche and you've kind of captured the market for that specific niche. But I think it's super important to understand that just like anything, exposure is going to propel your business forward as long as you do it correctly. So if you're selling on Amazon and you kind of have that marketplace environment down to a T from an accounting standpoint or from a fulfillment standpoint, it might be time to look at, expanding onto something like Walmart or eBay or any of the other maybe more niche marketplace listing apps. And then same goes for some of the more custom stores as well. It doesn't hurt to have, again, more exposure, more diversification. It's important to look at where you're selling currently and kind of how those stores and channels work within that existing framework. But yeah, a little tidbit at the top here, 73% of consumers use multiple channels during their shopping journey. So people aren't just going to Amazon. People are using a lot of different apps to either find the best deal or because their interests kind of span across multiple target markets, right? So important to understand that not just sellers should be aware of selling on multiple places, but buyers are buying in multiple places as well. So with selling on multiple channels, though, there is a challenge that comes with that, right? So the most obvious one and the one that we encounter here a lot at Webgility is that your data is going to be all over the place. If you have an Amazon and you have a Shopify and you have all these systems to help manage those things, the data is going to be, maybe not consistent across those platforms, right? Like you might have, let's just say in your Shopify, you have 200 products and each of those products has their own SKU or unique identifier. And those numbers or those identifiers might not match what you have inside of your QuickBooks, or the data might not communicate with each other. And that creates a lot of, chaos, manual data entry, and it can cause a lot of inventory problems if things aren't managed correctly. If your stores aren't communicating with each other, that means that you either A, are going to have to go and do that work yourself, right? You're going to have to go and manually input the inventory levels in each system, manually manage stock in the places that it's managed. And then if that's not done correctly, then you have inventory problems. You're overselling in certain stores, or you are, stocking out in some cases as well. So all this to say, it can cause a lot of chaos if you don't route things correctly. And that chaos leads to, we'll just say expenses, right? So when you have that disconnect between all of your systems and you spend all that extra time, you're spending money on labor either for yourself or across your teams, right? So that this 20 hours a week that I have here on the slide is the average time that people generally spend manually inputting data across their stores. Obviously, that it's higher or lower depending on the amount of stores you have, but that across all of your teams or consolidated into a small team can cost you a lot of money, cost you a lot of time, and that's time that you could spend doing more important things for the business, like planning for the future, securing new inventory, updating listings, stuff like that, stuff that requires a lot more creative work or executive decision, right? So I think it's important to point out that when you don't have that connection or that link between your systems, you're maybe costing yourself more money in the long run, which is important to think about when it comes to the cost of kind of automating things. So I'll get to that in a second. But let's talk about automation. So Webgility is an automation tool. Like I said, we're an e-commerce connector. Specifically, what Webgility does is we take your order and inventory information from your sales channels or your stores and sync that data directly into your accounting system. We currently work very heavily with Intuit QuickBooks, both desktop and online, but we do also support NetSuite connections and Xero to a degree. So with that automation, what you're seeing is, again, that interconnectivity between your stores. So you're able to pull all of your information from your stores and push it directly into your accounting. So that keeps that flow of data consistent. And it helps you to kind of point in TaxCloud's direction. It helps you maintain that tax compliance and keep things in sync in real time. You can sort of have all of these things done in a lot of different ways. Webgility is just one way to do it with like a couple clicks of a button once it's set up. But it's important to note that regardless of where you go for some sort of automation, it is important to look at connecting all of your systems. And one term that we use at Webgility a lot is the term omnichannel. We talk about multi-channel, and it's sort of a buzzword. Omnichannel, I would say, is a little bit even more of a buzzword, and it can mean a lot of different things to a lot of people. But I think the point that I always try to drive home to our customers is that you have all these systems. It makes sense to have them talk to each other to some degree, right? So the more that you invest in having all of your systems work together with one ecosystem, the more money you're saving in that manual work, and the bigger picture you're getting for your revenue and for everything that's going on within your business. So what does this all mean? What is the I guess the process or the workflow when it comes to automation and streamlining your orders and inventory information? So typically what it looks like is your order gets placed. We'll use Shopify as an example because it's super easy, super ubiquitous. The order gets placed on Shopify. You have everything set up through Shopify to coordinate the price and the cost and all the data for that specific piece of inventory that you're selling. And then what we do is we pull the order directly from Shopify's interface. It gets pulled into Webgility. And then from there, you can additionally calculate expenses if you have the correct systems connected. So payment processors, tax in this case as well, fees, discounts, all the extra stuff that gets added on to an order in any case. That all can be added to the order and amended. And then from there, we push it directly into QuickBooks. If it's a purchase order or an invoice or a sales receipt, we'll create that record directly for you with all the corresponding information that came directly from the online store, or in this case, multiple stores. So again, the result here is that we're pulling all that data that you would have had to make manually, right? The orders that you're creating in Shopify. If you're doing things correctly, you're going to have to track it in a system of record like QuickBooks or Xero or NetSuite. Anyways, we're just creating those records for you, saving you the time that you'd have to do, manually entering the order number, the inventory, the cost, the price, all that extra information gets done for you. And there's a couple levels to it. Webgility has a couple different options that you can kind of choose between when it comes to syncing your information. You can have it done manually, so you go in every day and you just see the orders that have come in. You push a couple buttons and it pushes it to QuickBooks. And then the end result, or the kind of the finished product in our mind for most businesses, is that you turn on our scheduler, which pulls that information automatically on a timer. So you can set it to kind of sync however often you'd like, and take the additional button clicks out of it if you can. With Webgility, we've averaged it out 2 hours of time saved a day if you're doing all these tasks manually. I like to use the term, or the number 10 hours a week. I think that resonates with people a little bit more. I don't think people do these tasks every single day most of the time. But then we can scale you up. 10,000 monthly orders is pretty average for us. But the overall goal for Webgility, and the thing that we really strive to enable businesses, is that we want you to spend, again, time doing the things that matter for your business, ideating, pushing the business forward, doing the things that matter, spend less time doing those manual tasks, and ultimately scale the business. So I think the last couple things I want to mention here are the steps within Webgility as a new customer, right? So one thing to expect with any automation service, again, this doesn't just apply to Webgility. I think it's important no matter what tool you decide to go with. It's important to understand what channels you're selling on and the pain points for each channel, right? You want to know in Shopify, what are the things that I need to keep track of? What are the things that I need to make sure run correctly? What do I want to automate? What do I want to run more smoothly? And then kind of map that out in your mind. Understand how you want those things to connect. Because then once Webgility or the automation tool gets introduced, it'll be a lot easier for you to compartmentalize each different process and understand where things should be. Once you sign up with Webgility, I'll use Webgility as a specific example here, but once you sign up with Webgility, our first task will be to get you in with our onboarding specialist. We have a wonderful team of onboarding specialists. It's free with every subscription, that will take you through and connect your sales channels. They'll set up your QuickBooks integration and make sure that all those connections work properly. From there, once we know that everything's connected, we'll go through and optimize things, tune your workflow to kind of fit your business model and what you're looking for, and then kind of teach you how to, spot that return on investment, monitor things with our analytics tools, and then from there, it's just as easy as scaling. All right, and my key takeaways for this session are that no matter what business you're in, no matter what industry you're in, I think it's important to keep everything that all the data points, all the systems that you use as centralized as possible. If you have the ability to automate any sort of busy work, I think that's the penultimate, the most important thing for us here at Webgility. And then if you use things correctly, if you automate everything across your stores and your systems, the huge and end goal benefit of all of this is to be able to see how your business is performing at a moment's notice. You can always check your revenue, your cash flow, and inventory, and know that everything is in its right place. Because if you can't trust your data, you can't trust that you're making the right decisions. So having all of that data synced means that you don't have to worry about human error. You don't have to worry about the manual work. And then it makes being audit-free or audit-proof a lot more tangible of a concept.
Awesome. John, I love it. I think one of my favorite parts of this series is that I'm getting to also be the audience and kind of learn as we go. I know you talked a lot about this helping save manual time, but you just kind of started talking about error. I'd be curious, like, how often is that coming up to for business operators where all this manual work is creating like errors in their accounting or in their reporting? I'd be curious to see what you say about that.
Yeah, I mean, it really depends on the business, right? Like,
Yeah.
if you have 20 products, and you only sell a couple things a week, the likelihood that you're going to run into errors is probably a lot lower, right? Because you don't need as much attention to detail. You're probably not running as fast when it comes to like the accounting or inventory side of things. But as you get larger, you're going to have to hire more people, and there's going to be a lot more moving parts, right? So I think the likelihood of running into errors and issues like that increases exponentially as you scale. So that's why we've always kind of prided ourselves on being that tool that scales with you, because that's our end goal, right? Is to lower those errors. So as you grow, we grow, and kind of keep each other, in check, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. Just kind of saving that, reducing errors, reducing manual time, automation. So we say it similarly at TaxCloud, right? Is like, let us take care of this so that you can spend time on all of the other things you probably would rather be spending time on, right? But that are also going to be more impactful for your business. So yeah.
Absolutely.
Before we close out, if I'm an operator listening to this and I want to go turn some of these automations on, how would you recommend they get in touch with you and the team?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, honestly, easiest way is just to go to webgility.com. If you go to our pricing page, it'll list all of our plans out individually, both for the online segment of QuickBooks and the desktop version. We have an awesome chat support team. You're more than welcome to call us as well. We're happy to kind of find the thing that fits for your business specifically. And then I know something maybe top of mind for everybody at this time of recording is that the tariffs have impacted all online businesses. Whether we feel it yet or not is to be discussed. But we actually introduced a tariff promo. So right now you're getting 50% off for your first 3 months with us to kind of take a little bit of the heat of those tariffs off. And yeah, I mean, I think the best thing you can do is at least explore what options you have for integrating all of your systems and stores together, because it'll make your life easier, and that's really all we want, right? Is things to run a little bit smoother. So
Totally. I think you just nailed it with that last thing, right? Which is the whole goal of this series is we want to help you run your e-commerce operations, make it more smooth for you, right? So that you can scale efficiently, especially as you head into Q4. So I love today's session. I think a lot of really actionable advice for the listeners. So hope everyone enjoyed this, and we will be back tomorrow for the next session. John, thanks for your time today.
yeah, thank you. Everybody enjoy the rest of your day.